I'm sorry, I forgot that there was one more video that we needed to make for section 5.6. All right, so now for this video, what this last part of it is going to talk about how we can determine if three side lengths or if three segments can form a triangle. All right, so for three segments to form a triangle, their lengths must be related in a certain way. So what you need to do in order for three side lengths to be a triangle, the sum of the two smallest two lengths must be greater than a third length. So here our two smallest lengths are 3 and 3, and since 3 plus 3 is greater than 5, 6 is greater than 5, then this means that this can form a triangle. So that means that these two side lengths are long enough to come together to form a triangle, to close it off. Here, our two side lengths are 2 and 2. And 2 plus 2 is not greater than 6 because 4 is not greater than 6. So this tells us that we cannot have a triangle. So it means that these two other side lengths are too small to ever come together and touch anywhere to form and close this triangle. So what the triangle inequality theorem states is that in order for us to have a triangle, the sum of the lengths of any two sides of the triangle is greater than the third side. So now the theorem itself gives you and tells you to do all three combinations, but all you have to do is take the two smallest lengths, add them together, and they must be greater than that remaining length. Not equal to, it must be greater than it. All right, so the theorem tells you to do all three possible, but you really only have to do the two smallest. All right, so let's do an example with this. So here we have three side lengths, 3, 7, and 8 feet. We're trying to determine, can this form a triangle? So you have to take your two smallest side lengths. So our two smallest side lengths will be 3 and 7. And we add them together. So 3 plus 7. And we ask ourselves, is this greater than 8? All right, so 3 plus 7 is equal to 10. And 10 is greater than 8. So yes, this can form a triangle. All right, so that can form a triangle. And here, our two smallest lengths are 5 and 10 feet. And then we would add these together and ask, does 5 plus 10, is that greater than 15? And 5 plus 10 is equal to 15, but that is not greater than 15. It's equal to, so no, this does not form a triangle. If we were to try and draw this and we were trying to connect the two segments so that they could come together, it would actually just end up forming a straight line. All right, and then there's one more example that we're going to go through, and that's it for this video. So it's another short, quick video. All right, disregard this in the solve it part, but the question is, two of the sides are 5 feet and 8 feet long. What are the range of the possible lengths of the third side? All right, so remember, our two smallest numbers have to equal up or be greater than the remaining larger. So in this case, our missing side could very well be our largest side. So then what we would have to do is we would have to say that 5 plus 8 has to be greater than x. So 5 plus 8 is 13. So 13 has to be greater than x, or x has to be less than 13. So that's one thing that we know, because if that's our largest side and it's greater than 13, well then we can't form a triangle. All right, and then what we would do is we would take out of these two numbers that we have here, 5 and 8, we then take the larger number. So since 8 is larger than 5, that means x plus 5, because x could also be our smallest number, and x plus 5 has to be greater than 8. So then we will subtract over 5, so that means that x has to be greater than 3. All right, and since x has to be greater than 3 and also less than 13, we can say our final answer is that x is greater than 3 and less than 13. So we can write it as a compound inequality. All right, so then for here also, if we tried to say that x is the middle number, that would still make 8 our larger number. So regardless if x is the smallest or the middle, it would still make 8 our largest number. So we only have to do it this way. We don't have to do another example where x is in the middle, because it would still end up being x plus 5 is greater than 8. So what you would do is you take the two numbers that are given to you, and then you add them together and say, well, that must be greater than the remaining side. And then you treat the other, so that's saying x is our largest side. And then you treat x as our smallest side, and you just do the same thing again. So we would say x plus 5 is greater than our middle number, or in this case, our largest number. solve for x. So that means the range of possibilities that x can be is it has to be greater than 3 and also less than 13. If it's 2, well then 5 plus 2 is not greater than 8. And if it's greater than 13, say 14, well 5 plus 8 is not greater than 14. So this is the range of numbers that we can possibly have. Right? That's it for this video and for this section.